I'm Candy, and welcome to this episode of the Backstage Pass, where I discuss with the absolutely fabulous Daniella D'ville about how to maintain motivation through injury and how much damage can be caused by having toxic relationships. Now, Daniella is definitely one for bringing positive energy to every occasion, but today she opened up about the challenges that she has faced. An emotional, epic, and absolutely inspiring conversation. Let's go. Well, Daniella D'ville, I am so honored to have you back in the studio after a year. I can't believe it's been a year since we started this. And you're one of
yesterday.
I know. You were one of my first guests, and it was quite funny. I was listening to it the other day, and I was like, the sound quality and the visuals, it was nothing compared to how it is now. But you grow, you change, you improve, and yeah, just thank you so much for coming back.
It's my pleasure.
I've been so looking forward to this, and I know that we wanted to touch base again. And the last episode that we did together, I would say it was really light, it was really positive, and it was a great insight to who you are as a performer. And I know that when I asked you to go a little bit deeper, you were very hesitant.
I was. When you told me initially the subjects you wanted to cover, my immediate reaction was no, absolutely not. I don't share a lot of my life on social media or with the public. And you wanted to delve into I like to keep everything very positive and happy, anything that's public. And you wanted to delve into some tougher subjects. And I thought, I can't do that. I don't speak publicly unless it's super, super positive. And then I really thought about it and I realized it's not realistic. Life's not always smiles and positivity, and it doesn't
No.
always go your way.
Mm-hmm.
Things go wrong. We have tough times in life. And
Yeah.
actually, when other people have shared it, either through podcasts or online, there's times it's really helped me.
Yes.
I know when I've struggled with certain things, I've looked and found podcasts or YouTube videos of people that have gone through something similar, spoken about it publicly, and it really comforted me and helped me through. And when I thought about that, I thought, okay, if I can talk about some of the tougher times in my career, even if it helps one person, then maybe it's a good thing. And also, everything I went through had a positive ending. So it doesn't mean we're talking about negative things.
Yeah, definitely. And what I was thinking of when you spoke about that is, you were speaking about things that people were seeing on stage, but the getting on the stage, the being motivated to go on stage, the challenges to get you up there, seeing what the audience sees, it does take a lot. And so to really get that foundation, the raw stuff that happens to get you on the stage, it is so valuable. And to all the people listening that have issues with any of the things that we talk about today, it is going to help them.
I hope that it will. And I'm going to have to tap into a bit different time of my life because at the moment, and for quite a few years now, I've been thriving. I have no creative blocks. Like, life is going pretty fab for me at the moment. But there have been times when I've struggled to create. I've struggled to have motivation. At one point, there was a time I pondered, do I want to give up performing? Which I know that I never do, but I was going through a very tough time. So yeah, I'm going to have to sort of channel where I was back then.
Well, I'm with you every step of the way. So let's start with the motivation thing, because in the last podcast you were saying, I love what I do. That is the motivation. But there's so much more to that. And I know that there is. So I'm going to ask the question again. What keeps you motivated for this long career? How many years have you been a performer now?
15 plus.
Yeah. So that's a long time to constantly be in that creative space. So what is your secret?
The motivation mainly does come through my just addiction to
Mhm.
performing. And when I do a new act, the excitement and the gratification of realizing I've created something and shared it and people enjoy it. Think a lot of motivation comes with just I love every aspect of my career. I love the people I work with. I love the history and the people that paved the way for where I am. I love paying homage to them and taking influence from them. I love the magic of the venues that I work in. I love how every day is different. No two shows the same. My career is truly the love of my life. I am married to the stage. Um,
Mm.
it may sound very selfish to say, for me, it comes first. I love it more than anything in the world. So, really, how can you not be motivated when you are that passionate about one
Yeah.
thing?
I think that when you are a performer, it is that you are married to it, that it is your primary relationship. And, my reason, or one of my reasons for leaving, was that I did fall out of love with it. And when you are losing that love for it, it's really, really, really hard to enjoy it. But, like you're saying, it's the love of your life. I mean, it's so powerful. And when you said it, I almost felt emotional because I was like, I know I've seen you on stage all these years. And yeah, it really, really is that for you.
It really is. And there's times when I've never really fallen out of love with it. There's times I've had so much distraction in life, it's
Mm,
pulled me away from it a bit, but I always come back to it and it's always there for me. And it is always the thing that gives me more joy than anything in the world. And people have the dent they want to make and leave on the world, the legacy they want to leave behind.
mm.
And understandably, for a lot of other people, that may be their children and family and other things. For me, it is what I do in my career. That's what I want to leave behind. That's my legacy. I want to be part of cabaret and circus history.
You are going to be. You already are. I mean, everyone that I've ever met who knows you, it's been a massive impact that you've had on their lives. So it must feel amazing. But you said something that I'm like, ah. So what has pulled you away from this?
Well, I know that had quite a nasty injury about 10 years ago.
Yeah. Was it 10 years? Oh my goodness me. 10 years ago already.
It's been that long. Yep, about 10
Wow.
years back, I completely snapped my ACL, which is the ligament that attaches your shin bone to your thigh bone. And without it, my knee was really unsturdy and I had to have major surgery to reconstruct it. And it's much worse than breaking a bone. Your recovery is a lot longer.
Mm,
I couldn't walk for quite a long time. I had my leg in this brace for, I think, off the top of my head, it was between a month and 6 weeks. And then after that, you are learning to try and move normally again. Forget being able to perform. You are relearning to move in normal day to day
mm.
activities. So to go from someone that's very athletic, quite acrobatic, to not being able to walk
Yeah.
in this leg brace and then just learning normal day tasks again. I
Mm.
remember it taking me an hour to get dressed in the
Oh
morning.
my gosh.
So that
Yeah.
really pulled me away.
Mm. So how long were you not performing after the surgery?
It's tough to remember now. Um, it was a long time, but not as long as I thought, because I do have some acts that are less dynamic. I
Mm.
don't need to use my body as much. And I think it might have been about 3 months after the surgery, I was able to go on stage and perform some of my more sedentary kind of acts. But the bigger challenge was getting to the gigs because I couldn't walk far for ages. So
Yeah.
even it would have to be gigs that I could pull up right outside
Yeah.
to and walk in because.
My
walking was a
gosh.
bigger challenge than standing on stage for 5 minutes.
Would you say that that was the thing that made you feel that your career was uncertain? Did you ever have that feeling?
I did. Um, it was really tough actually because when I did the injury, I didn't know anyone that had this injury in the performer world. Well, I didn't know anyone that had this injury full stop, let alone in the
Mm.
performer world.
Yeah, you felt alone with it then.
I did.
Yeah.
I remember just I was really in a dark place, very down, searching for answers. I
Oh.
wanted someone to give me some kind of guidance. There was no one that could do that. I remember going to a party, and I should have been at a party because I was sort of going around socializing. Oh my God, I must have been a proper downer, and sort of saying to people, I don't know what to do. My career is so uncertain. Like almost what I was seeking advice. What should I do? And no one could help me because no one could empathize with what I was going through. In the end, I found a Facebook page, ACL support group for people that had the injury. Again, these were a lot of normal people looking to get back to normal everyday
Yeah, not
tasks,
dancing on stage.
not dancing, not circus
Mm-mm.
performance. And I was scrolling through, and I found a girl that was a professional dancer that was on that group. And I messaged her out the blue and just said, I'm so sorry to reach out when you
Yeah.
don't know me. However, I see that you're a dancer, you've had a reconstruction on your ACL. Can you please give me some advice? Will I get my career back? And this woman was lovely. She lived in
Oh.
North London and she said, do you want to go for coffee?
Really? That's so nice.
How kind of her to give time out of her day to a stranger. And we met up
Wow.
for coffee, and she was maybe 6 months past her reconstruction. And she said, I am dancing again. I am doing martial arts again. And she reassured me, you are in for a tough ride. It's a lot of pain, it's a lot of rehab, but your career is not over. You will get through this, you will perform again. Thank God for that kind stranger.
Mm.
She gave me so much hope. Like, even now, forever in debt and grateful.
Yeah. Because if you're looking at a site or a page where people are talking about, yes, I want to be able to walk to work and do like exercise, and you're like, and I'm a performer that does very difficult, dynamic stunts and acts, and I need to know. And there was no one out there. And thank goodness to that person, whoever you are, wherever you are, thank you, because it gave you that drive to go, okay, so it's going to be tough. I'm going to do it.
It really did. And that
Yeah.
was what I needed to hear
Mm.
because on the page I was looking at, there were people on there going, 2 weeks post operation, I can bend my leg to almost 90 degrees and things like that. And
You think,
oh
I need
God.
more.
And a lot of them were very negative as well on there. And
Oh,
it really, probably, although it was support group, wasn't the best place to go until I found this girl who, wow. And actually, randomly, I saw someone on Facebook this week, another performer that have snapped their ACL.
oh goodness, yeah.
And I reached out to them and just said, if you ever want to talk, because I thought if I can repay that favor to the universe. And I think back to the determination it took when I was in recovery. I remember going from being an avid gym goer that was, very confident in the gym, doing everything. After my surgery, I was sat on an exercise bike, oh, for weeks, just trying to get a full revolution of the exercise bike to
Wow.
go all the way round. And
Yes.
I was going forward a little bit, backwards a little bit, forwards a little bit, backward, just trying
Oh my
to
goodness.
push it all the way
Yeah.
round. But to get that sort of mobility back in your leg
Mm.
is really, really difficult. And yeah, I sat there for ages, for weeks, trying to just get that mobility back, get that movement back. So when you think of
Gosh.
going from that to be able to swing from the ceiling and having massive high kicks and all that again, long path.
Yeah. And you triggered something in my memory. I kind of remember you saying, right, so I'm doing this act, but I'm going to change this bit for this bit. What do you think? Because you needed to modify your acts because you didn't want to be out of the game for too much longer. You wanted to be on stage, but you were having to modify your acts to just until you felt at a place that you could change back. But even that alone is incredible.
I did. I modified a lot.
Mm,
You know, I had one very weak leg with not a lot of mobility, and I had one leg that had, subbed
yeah.
for both legs. So it was super strong and
Yeah.
good. And I had to do all of my acts, tweak them a bit so that I was using my good leg for everything because I couldn't afford to have the time off. I had no other way of making a living. My body is my everything. If I can't use it, I don't have another career to fall back on. I don't have a side hustle. My body is all I use to make money. So I was like, I need to get back to work as soon as possible. Things are going to have to be adapted. We work
Mm.
around it and get on with it.
Yeah. And that is one of the biggest challenges of being a performer in cabaret, because and in any freelance kind of industry, if you don't work, you don't get paid. And so you just have to push yourself. And that's scary because when you got an injury, and I kind of remember that there was a niggle, but you were like, I have to carry on. Is that what happened? And then it just got worse and worse and worse. Kind of remember that there was, or maybe it was a different thing.
Throughout my
Yeah.
career, I've had several smaller injuries. I've
Mm,
had tendonitis in my Achilles. I've torn my calf muscle. I had a bad rotator cuff for a year. All these things we work around,
you work
nothing
around.
major.
Mm,
This one I clean snapped it.
yeah.
It wasn't a gradual thing.
Mm.
It was a boom, that's done.
What was your first thought when that actually happened? Oh, shit.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember back. I think I didn't well, at that time, I didn't realize the severity of what I had done, and, it was very sore for about a week, and I sort of kept it strapped up, and then I realized my knee could bend in ways it probably shouldn't bend.
Oh,
I
goodness.
mean, I have slight hyperextension anyway, which is probably the reason that I snapped
Mhm.
it. So if you're out there and you're a performer and you're very, very bendy and a bit hyperextended, always work on your strength. Always
Always.
massively work on your strength.
Mm.
Learn it from me because I learned the hard way. Yeah, then my knee it could bend even further backwards and a little bit sideways.
Sorry for that.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
Oh, but I just think the real sort of I'm gonna get there and the mindset, you know, your mindset is what carried you through.
Mindset is everything. And if you want it bad enough, you will get back there. You absolutely will. Because think about it, if you're already making a successful career as a performer, you've already beaten the odds once.
This is true.
Think about how many people want to be in that industry, and it's a
Mhm.
tough industry
Oh.
to get your foot in the door and make it. If you've already done that, you can beat an injury. You already have the determination that you need.
Absolutely. I would say, knowing you as long as I have known you, it is hard to rattle you. You are really, really hyper focused. This is what I want, and I am going to get it. And that strong mindset, it really has seen you through. There's only been one area, one phase in your life since I've known you where I've gone, oh my goodness, is she okay?
And I know the exact time that
Hmm.
you're talking about, and you're going to want to have a chat about it, aren't you?
I am. I am. I mean, I know that it's a very delicate subject, and I really, really appreciate you talking about it today. I know it's a biggie, and it's a subject that maybe people haven't heard from you before, but I guarantee there's so many cases like this, so many people struggling with something like this, and not enough people are speaking up about it.
I'm going to agree with what you said at first. Not much rattles me.
No.
And I generally feel whatever life throws at me, I will deal with it and I will
Yeah.
get through it and carry on. Because what
Mm,
choice do we have?
exactly.
You live once, you've got to make the best of everything. However, there was a time, I got into a very bad relationship,
Mm.
and I was in it for, I think, just over 5 years. And when they say it can happen to anyone, it really can, because sometimes these people, they fool you pretty well, and
Mhm.
people don't enter into these relationships knowing what the other person is truly like, and they chip away at you a bit at a time. You know, if you met someone and they were abusive or nasty to you straight away, you would never be with them.
No, you'd run.
You would run,
Yeah.
exactly. These people are clever,
Yeah.
and they gradually bring in their true colors. And this is why it can happen to anyone.
Mm.
If you've never been through it and you don't know the red flags to look for, they can get anyone, even the strongest minded person.
Absolutely. And they're so charming as well. I mean, I've had an experience with it as well. I do get it. You know, you're on your path, you're successful, you're really, really happy. You meet someone who's really, really charming and very supportive of what you're doing. They get their foot well and truly in the door, and then they just make a little comment here and there. And then it just all starts to just niggle away. But you've already fallen in love with them before this has even happened.
This is exactly the story.
Mm.
They want to make sure that you are completely head over heels for them before they start to bringing their other colors, shall we say, their true
Yeah.
colors.
Yeah.
So I did spend 5 years with someone I've done a lot of reading and researching since, so I understand it a lot better now. And I would say personally, they were probably a narcissist.
Hmm.
I'm no expert, but from what I've read, the behavior matches up quite well. And yeah, I did. I fell head over heels. I was love bombed, and I was like, wow, I've never felt like this about anyone. Um, and slowly, bit by bit, things got worse and worse. And at the end of 5 years, I didn't even know myself anymore. And I didn't even know my own mind. In my head, I wouldn't ever think, what do I want when making any decision? I would think, how do they want me to be? You know, even if I was choosing a new outfit, what would please them? What do they want me to wear? I wasn't taking certain jobs. There would be comments like, oh, so you're going to be in a dressing room with men? Which, as a performer, it's inevitable that we're all in
Yes.
dressing rooms together.
Mhm.
Um, oh, you're going to be working with other men? As you can imagine, how difficult would that make it to take jobs? I became so obsessed with trying to, because things, when things get so, they get worse and worse and worse, and you're always trying to get back to the beginning
Oh,
when
yeah.
you were love bombed, when
Mhm.
things were amazing. You think, where did I go wrong that we're now in this situation? So you're constantly trying to claw back to how it was before, and you chase that forever, and you'll never get there. And you end up adapting your entire life to try and get back to there, to please that person, to do everything
Mm.
to please them. You lose yourself completely.
And you sacrificed your first love.
You do. Yeah.
That was, you fell in love with somebody, and because they didn't approve of what you did or what you do and what you love, you were not taking gigs. It was like your first love, your career was taking a back seat just so you could please somebody else, which I know is not you.
And that person wouldn't have even worded it as they didn't support my career. You know, they would say, oh, yeah, I support you. But it would be all the other little comments of like, oh, so you're going away overnight, or you're, you're going to be traveling a car with that person. Um, I got,
Mm.
I got accused once on the way back from a festival. I was working as a double act with a lovely performer that I've worked with for my entire career, and we've never been anything but friends, and we work a show together.
Mhm.
And we got lost on the way back. Like, we're coming back
Of
from a
course.
festival, phone was
Oh, no.
out of signal, so we old-fashioned way had a map book. "Oh, you're an hour later than you should have been. You stopped off to have an affair." And
Oh my
this
gosh.
was the sort of thing I was dealing with on a daily basis, and then I
Yeah.
would be punished and screamed at, and there
Mm.
would be anger and tears from me. Anger from that part, tears from me, and so much drama all the time over nothing. Nothing would have happened. And when you're being screamed at on a daily basis and you're just desperately thinking, how can I stop this happening? And I'm quite a sensitive person. If someone's going to scream at me and make me cry, I can't recover from that in a day. You know, it drags on. I feel, why did that have to happen? What did I do wrong? How can I prevent that
Mm.
happening again? And I'm trying to heal myself constantly. Um, it zapped all my energy. I was living like that, treading on eggshells all the time. So I had no energy left to put into my career. I had no room for creativity. I had no mental energy left to even think about creating a new act or doing something new. There was
God.
nothing left. I was just a shell of the person that I was before. And the whole time I was with that person, 5 years, I never brought out any new material, not a single new act in that whole chunk of
Wow.
time.
That's that's a long time to not feel inspired to create something new.
That's a really long time because,
Yeah.
I mean, in general, I'd say I create at least one new act every year, at
Mhm.
least. And right now, where I'm thriving, I have so many ideas and not enough time to do them all. Right now, there's so many things I want to create and put into practice. And I really have to go, stop it, pick one, focus on one at a time. And then there's another voice in my head going, but I've got so many ideas. Look, this would be so much fun. That would be so cool. Calm down,
Save it for later.
pick one, focus on it,
Mhm.
complete it.
Mhm.
But yeah, 5 years, no creative energy, no new acts. Almost took a big step back, was doing minimal shows. Um, could never have gone and done a tour.
No.
Absolutely out of the question.
It's so sad that someone could take hold of you and pull you away from the thing that you love so much.
I never thought it could happen.
Mm.
And I honestly feel if it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone because, my career always comes first.
Yeah.
I've learned a lot from it. I come out the other end a different person. It did take a long time to get back to being me again, get back to not hearing that person's voice in my head, just my own voice.
Oh, his voice became sort of internalized as your own.
Mhm.
It's really scary.
It's really scary.
Mm.
And when I was deciding what am I going to do this week, it was really hard to get back to going, what do I actually want to do this week? Not in my head, what would he approve of me doing this week?
Oh
It
gosh.
took a long time.
What would you say was the pivotal moment in that relationship that made you go, I'm better than this?
I had suspected that he had cheated, and then yeah, pretty much got proof. And I think that was the final straw, that I was putting everything into this person and I loved them so much. And it was that realization of, why am I doing this? Why am I
Yeah.
giving so much to this person?
And and it just makes me angry. I mean, obviously I did know this person. And, with all that, oh, you're an hour late, so you must be doing all of this just to hide the fact that he was probably doing it to you. And it made me mad. It still makes me feel mad. And it happens to so many people. I think that's one of the telltale signs, isn't it? If someone's constantly on your case going, why are you late? What's happening with them? That they
Yeah,
feel that they have to accuse you of something.
but I could have never dared question.
Really?
Oh. Mhm.
No.
You would do everything not to stir up trouble because if you said one wrong thing, it could be exhausting. And to be honest, if he wanted to explode at me, he would find a reason. One morning, I passed him a coffee wrong, and yeah,
Excuse me?
yep, yep. And again, I just got exploded at. Yeah, it was a really it
Mm,
really took its toll on me. It was a really tough time, and I think it's the only thing that's ever happened to me that really took me away from my career, from my passion. And yeah, anyone else
yeah,
out there that's going through it, it makes me sad to know that this happens all the time. This isn't an unusual
no,
incident. There's plenty of people going through this all the time. Um, just be brave enough to walk away. And it's really hard because I've read up on things since, like trauma bonding, and
uh-huh.
there's reasons like that that make it really hard. They become addictive. They're like a drug.
And
It's
pleasing them becomes like an addiction
it
as
does.
well.
It does.
Mm,
And it just takes away from all the other areas of your life. Just, yeah, be brave enough to reach out to your friends, ask people for help, tell people what's going on. And yeah, you have to walk away and get back to who you are. Um, if there's anyone out there, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk to anyone. It pains me
absolutely.
to know that people are going through that.
Yeah, it's too many people, and suffering in silence, and that not speaking out because I guess they don't want it to come back to the person that they're with. But just having to put a smile on and pretend that everything's okay, it's doing so much damage to yourself.
It is. And I'm sure people will have felt like me. I felt embarrassed to tell even my closest friends what was really going on, because I knew deep down the way I was allowing myself to be treated wasn't okay. And I'd never allowed anyone to treat me like that before. So why
No.
now? And I often didn't reach out because I was so embarrassed that I was
Mm,
allowing it to happen. But if I could say to people now, don't be embarrassed, reach out to your friends. They might have been through it and not spoken out loud about it.
yeah,
You have to reach out and tell people what's going on, because you're going to need support and help from the other people that love you to get away from something like that.
definitely. And what would you say are the top things that you felt really brought you back to where you are now?
Mm, definitely being around creative people again started to stir up that bit of creativity in myself, even though it took time for me to be ready to create and be inspired again. Being around that energy,
Mm,
just being in a cabaret dressing room with other really inspiring performers that are excited about the new acts that they're doing, being around that really helped. Yeah, I think taking time to heal. Like, don't be too hard on yourself to come back straight away. You
mm.
do need that quiet, peaceful time to just mend yourself.
Yeah, you do. And it takes as long as it takes. And yeah, you can't brush it under the carpet and move on and go, that's done, so move on. It's a wound that needs that time to heal.
It
It
really,
definitely
really
does.
is. And
Hmm.
I think, read about what you've gone through. For me, reading about narcissistic personality disorder, reading about trauma bonding and all those other things, it helped me understand why I felt so addicted to that person.
Yeah.
Talking to people about it. And also for me, going to watch lots of live shows again really helped,
Yeah.
being inspired by all the talent that's out there,
Mm.
feeling that energy, other people's energy they give off when they're on stage. For me personally, that was very healing and
Yeah.
helped me move forward.
And I think for anyone who is listening who's not a performer, you can still do that. You can go to shows, you can begin to socialize and do the things that makes you feel alive and free.
Yes, whatever it is you love, then go and do that. Go and do it all the time if you
Mhm.
need to.
Yeah.
Find your passions again, take interest in them again. Really think about, what do I need? What do
Yeah.
I want? And spoil yourself.
Yeah, because otherwise if you don't do that, then there is the danger of just brushing things under the carpet and that need to escape. And that's when the drinking comes in and stuff like that, where you're just trying to manage where you are at that moment rather than reaching out, speak, don't feel embarrassed, go to shows, get inspired,
Yeah.
have a cocktail
Yeah.
with your mates, all of those things that bring you back. But I'd say, yes, that he was a narcissist, but he was mentally abusing you. Would you say that that is accurate?
It is accurate. I do find it hard to talk about.
Yeah.
Um, there was a lot said to me all the time, no other man will ever want you. Why would
Oh,
anyone want
God.
you? You're lucky to be with me because no one else will have you. If that's said to you long enough, you do start to believe it.
Absolutely.
And you think, I
Yeah.
have to stay with this person. I'm grateful I have this person because I'm so flawed. He's right. No one ever will want me.
Mm.
Look how much I upset him all the time. I'm really rubbish at this. You start to believe it. If you're out there and you're going through it, it's not true. You're not the problem. The person that's supposed to love you most in the world shouldn't be saying that to you.
No.
They really shouldn't.
No, they really shouldn't. Sorry, I'm just like, oh God. Yeah. I'm just, it's bringing it all back for when we would go out and you were you, but you weren't you. You were there, but you weren't fully present, and it wasn't till a little bit of time after he was out of the picture fully that you were beginning to heal. There were just little things that you did that were cheeky and lovable, and I was like, there she is, she's coming back. And it's so lovely. I mean, bringing it back to where you are now, I can't believe the difference in those two people, those two versions of you. And it really is a testament to the mindset and the really focusing on the good bits, doing the good things that give you that return. Instead of going, it's over and I'm just going to put myself into a room and drink, you went, I'm going to be with creative people. I'm going to go and do these things. And it really takes a strong person to do that. Even if you didn't feel strong, that act in itself is incredibly healing and incredibly brave as well.
Thank you. It did take a lot of strength, to be honest, because I remember being out with friends and I just apologized. I said, I'm sorry, I'm really sad.
Mm,
And I'm not someone that likes to admit that. I love to put on a smile and I like to be the person that brings good energy and
yeah.
cheers people up.
Hmm.
So I found that quite hard just to say, sorry, I'm sad, but I don't want to sit at home and be sad by myself.
Yeah.
I better to be out with friends, doing something fun and trying to take my mind off it, which often didn't even work. It took a long time. I was out trying to force it. But it was better than being at home alone, sitting and dwelling. It took a lot to keep going out. And
Yeah.
eventually I did start to go out, and it wasn't, oh, I'm forcing myself to come out and trying to distract myself. I really was distracted and I really was starting to enjoy myself. But it took a long time. And there was actually a point where I thought, I'm never going to be the person I used to be, which you, like anyone out there, you will be that person again.
Yeah.
Before that I was always very bubbly. I love to party, I love to be cheerful and silly all the time.
Absolutely.
And I was like, oh my god, I've lost that, I can't get
Mm,
it back. And
yeah.
it just took time, but it did come back. I'll
Oh,
never
it did.
be exactly the same person again, but that's not a bad thing. I've learned some really important life lessons. um I'm a bit more aware. I know sort of red flags to look out for. I also understand other people a bit more and probably have a bit more empathy of when
Mm.
other people are going through things. Yeah, so it's not all bad. I've maybe come out of it a bit better person.
I think definitely. And you do make mistakes along the way in life. And as long as you're learning from them, then, it is incredible. It was a horrible, horrible chapter in your book of life, but it is closed. And the chapter that you're on now is incredible. And I've never seen you so wholesome, so grounded, but reaching for the stars. I've never seen you as driven as you are right now. So it really, really is amazing to just keep going, even when you have the bad bits, the bad chapters, if you like. So I'm just going to go that metaphor in your life. You just go, I needed this to go to the next chapter. I needed that chapter to learn. It was horrible, but look where I am now.
And you know what? When you've been through some bad chapters and you get back onto a good one, you appreciate it so much
Oh, so much
more.
more.
So
Yeah.
much more.
Yeah.
I'm like deliriously happy most
Mm-hmm.
days because, I mean, on top of the two things we've spoken about today, I've had, as we all do in life, had several really tough chapters and losses, and just being able to go and do a show and be healthy and have nice people around me. Oh my God, like it makes me so deliriously happy because I know what it's like not to have that now.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it so much more than I did before all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm probably annoyingly happy every day, all the time, because I'm just so grateful of all the good things I have now.
Yeah. And gratitude. It's
Yeah,
a big one.
it
And,
is.
I think it's really important for people to think about all the little things and the little wins in their day, and to really, really reflect on that and look back on that and go, I am so grateful for, grateful for your friends, grateful that you're even waking up today. It's
Exactly.
there's so much to be grateful for, and people getting up and you can get yourself onto a really bad downward spiral. I know we have all done it, but if you're waking up and going, even if it was a rainy day, I think my dad always used to say, "Lovely weather for ducks." Like
Yeah.
there was always like somebody's grateful out there, or it's I
Yeah.
can have a cozy cuppa and watch the rain. Like
Yes.
there is so much that you can do. It can be hard some days, but to have those little moments of gratitude, it's valuable. It's so valuable to
It
your life,
is.
and
It
I think
is.
it's what makes you you in a way. I'm thinking about it, and it's all the little bits that you are so eternally grateful for. And I think that's why you are so happy now. It's
Yeah,
because of that.
I think so too. I
Mm.
think I had to go through the tougher chapters to really appreciate the good stuff. And I'm not saying I didn't used to, but maybe I didn't overthink it a lot. And now I'm like, I'm getting up in the morning, I go to the gym and I smash it. How lovely that I'm healthy and mobile to be able to go and smash it in the gym every morning.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I've got a show tonight. How lovely that I'm booked. How lovely that I'm making money doing what I love. How lovely that I can be surrounded by all these amazing performers and not
Exactly.
be worried about other things. I can go to work carefree, enjoy it, enjoy what I love, make a living, like, and have a lovely home to go home to. Like, what
Exactly.
more do you need?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe if I hadn't been through quite as many tough times, I wouldn't be so like, wow, how good is this?
Yeah. And you're not stopping there either, because you've got some other things that you're sort of working on. And since then, and recently, you've produced your own show. So
Yeah.
it's all very, very exciting stuff that you're
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying that. I've produced several shows. I've got like a big Halloween production thing coming up.
Oh, you're doing it. Yes. Good.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I've possibly got another little TV appearance coming up. Just a little cameo, but I'm excited about it, and I'm going to get to do one of my favorite acts at the moment, hopefully. Oh, I'm nearly ready to debut so I've been working on a Houdini act. I'm really nervous to debut it. Really nervous.
So what's the act?
It's different to a lot of my other acts. It's going to be the upside down suspended straitjacket escape. So it's a copy of one of
Ooh,
Houdini's acts, and I've done
yes.
it to pay homage to him.
Mhm.
But I'm while I'm doing the act, I'm giving people the history of Houdini. So the history of him and when he did this act, and I've got videos of him doing the act behind me whilst I'm doing the act.
Oh, wow.
Um, and I'm adding my own little twist to it as well. I'm going to be doing a quick change inside the straitjacket. So I will go in a fringed red costume and come out in a bright blue costume. Um,
Sounds amazing.
yeah, I
Sounds
just thought if I'm
amazing.
gonna do an act that's paying homage to Houdini, I need to put something on it that makes it my own.
Mm.
And I've never seen anyone do a quick change inside a straitjacket while they escape. So whilst hanging upside down by their feet.
I mean, you have so much skill. It's insane. Oh wow. And it's never ending. I think that your drive, your first love, you're just always trying to improve it, nurture it, modify it, but you always link it back to the great people in the cabaret, in the industry. And you're like, you want to, pay homage to them, as you said, but adding a little bit of you in
Of
it is
course.
so good.
I mean, I
And
take
yeah.
so much influence from the
Mm,
people that did pave the way for myself, and I'm aware that they've done that. I wouldn't be doing what I did if it wasn't for the great sideshow performers, escapologists, and everything, strong
yeah.
women of the past. So I love to pay homage to them. But yeah, you've always got to add your own twist and make it yours, haven't you?
Definitely. It's just incredible what you're doing. And I love how happy you are now. And, I think yes, there's been bad bits, but I think the most important thing to take away from this particular show is that you you bounce back. And when bad things happen, it doesn't mean that you need to stay in that bad place. We are resilient. And I think that when you're in a dark place, you can forget that.
Yeah,
And, it's the people you'll support and, the people that are driving you and telling you that you're doing a good job. I mean, whenever I see you, I'm just like, not far off kissing your feet. I absolutely adore you as a person and as a performer. And you're always doing incredible things. And I could just picture you having your own shows and still performing in your 60s. I'm still doing it. I still love it.
absolutely. That's the
Yes,
plan.
good. I'm going to be ending it in a minute, but I wondered if there was anything else you wanted to mention that I haven't mentioned.
I would just like to give the message that if you're a performer and you are going through a tough time, you will bounce back, whether it's injury or, something mental. If you want to perform again, you absolutely will. And no matter what hurdle you've got, you will find a way. It doesn't matter what's gone wrong. If you want
Yeah.
to perform again, if you're already a performer, you will bounce back and you will find a way to adapt and shine through it and reach out to other performers. A
Yeah.
lot of us have been through a lot of stuff that we don't tell people about. As
Mm-hmm.
performers, we slap on a smile and we don't tell
Oh, I
people
do.
these
Mm-hmm.
things. So, yeah, any performers that want to reach out for me, I'll always have a listening ear and just keep going. Like,
Absolutely.
performers, it's hard sometimes. If you go through stuff, you're there to bring the joy, go on stage and bring joy, which is tough to do if you're going through it yourself.
Absolutely.
But yeah, just keep going, you'll get through it.
Yes, amazing motivation for everybody out there. And I'm going to be doing, well, I am doing a new thing.
Oh yeah.
I want you to ask me a question.
Ooh. Okay, well, staying on topic,
Hmm.
what was the biggest, when you were in your performance career,
Yeah.
what was the biggest challenge you faced that you did overcome?
The biggest challenge. You know what it was? I don't think I've really told that many people, but I was in my third year at the Royal Ballet School and things were going really, really well for me. And I was dancing at the Birmingham Royal Ballet. I knew that they liked me and that was possible. And then I was about to do like a school performance thing in Utah. And that was actually when we got the letters saying, you've been offered the job. But a week before, I was doing a backwards jump and
Oh.
my ankle. And I was like,
Oh.
what the fudge have I done? And I couldn't continue the rest of the class. Normally, you can just sort of go, okay, I'm just going to
Work
smile.
through it.
There was no, there was. So I was like, so I hobbled down to physio and they were like, you've sprained your ankle in a couple of places. Like, we need to get you seen. So they
Mm.
sent me to, I think it was Harley Street. So they sent me there and they said, nothing's broken, but it's a very, very bad sprain. you need to heal. But Gayleen Stock, who was director of the Royal Ballet School at that time, bless her, she said, I know you're injured, but do you still want to come to Utah? Do you still want to be there? I was like, I absolutely do. I'll never forget, I was on the plane, and the pressure of the plane when you've got an injury, it's not
Oh,
the one. I mean, I'm glad I
no.
went, because I would never have, not never, but I wouldn't have found out about my job offering until everyone had got back with theirs, so it would have been difficult. But I'm so glad that I did. But I had to start the job injured. So I
Oh,
started my career as an injured dancer. And it took a lot for me to be able to say to them, I'm actually injured, because I thought, if they're going to take that job away from me if I'm injured.
yeah.
That is how vulnerable I actually was as a
Hmm.
person. And then when I spoke out and said, this this is not right, and I've been dancing on it for a couple of weeks, and it never was right again, because I pushed it and tried to hide it, which I think is again another big message, just to speak up and say, I know you just hired me. However, I can't dance for the first 2 weeks, but I didn't. I pushed through. So when I spoke up and I went to physio and they did a lot of work on me, I was able to dance, and I became a better dancer because I was more aware
Yeah.
of the fact that injury could be a thing. I don't know why, but at school, I just thought, I could eat what I wanted, dance how I wanted, and injury, what's that? And then suddenly it was just, oh yeah, this is a thing.
It's an
You do
important
have to be
lesson.
careful. The warming up and the cooling down and the knowing your limits, like you said about the hyperextension, the strength, that is a major, major part of being a performer, is,
Yes.
knowing your limits in terms of, if you are a hyperextended individual, if you're doing a big, big leap, you need to know how you're going to come down. That was the thing. I
Yes.
just went, "Whoa," doing this big split, didn't think about the landing. And yeah, so overcoming that and realizing that injury isn't too far away. And you do need to think about everything, with the physiology of what you're doing, and not just, I'm going to dance. And I was just like I danced, I was a very emotional dancer. Then I had to think about technique, and I became such a great dancer from that.
Yeah. I think that's not unusual. I think a lot of dancers, performers,
Yeah.
gymnasts, all those disciplines,
Yeah.
until you have an injury, you think you're indestructible.
Oh, yes.
It's such an important lesson to learn. And I think you'd find a lot of us do learn the hard way.
Mm-hmm. You do. We are not robots. You're human, and things do happen. But yeah, I'd say that was my biggest thing in my career that I had to
That's so
overcome.
scary, starting a new job and having to say, I'm injured
Yeah,
in such a competitive industry as well. You'd be thinking, oh God, I'm done for.
it was frightening, but I did it.
You did.
Yes. But I just want to thank you so much for today, and for going really deep into the things that were quite dark for you, but
Yeah.
also showing that there is light. If you reach out, there is
Yes.
light.
There definitely is.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for coming on my show.
Well,
1 year celebration. Woo!
yay. And it's been an awesome year. I've been listening with you all the way.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, everybody's support has been really, really wonderful. And it's quite funny, actually, because when I post a podcast, I just think, I hope Daniela likes it.
There's not
you
been one I
always,
haven't
you
liked
always
yet.
meet, yeah, I always have you in mind. So, we're wonderful friends, and, I just really, really appreciate your support, and for delving in like you have today. It's been wonderful.
It's literally the first time I've ever done it.
I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me back.
No, you're welcome. I always want the Backstage Pass to be a supportive platform for the arts. And I'm hoping now through this conversation that people are going to start to delve a little bit deeper, because it really, really is important for people in the arts.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing the second year of this podcast
It's going to
then.
be good. It's going to be good. Thank you, my darling.
Thank you.
Isn't Daniella D'ville sensational? What a whopper of an episode to begin year 2 as a podcast host. If anyone is suffering with any of what was talked about in this show, please, please reach out. I have put links into the show notes. And please subscribe and leave a review. The bigger the show, the more support for the arts. And if you want to get involved with this podcast, please email me, candy.presents.podcast@gmail.com. Thank you all so much for listening. Until next time.